Hi Cancer, what's going on? We're here with the Timeless reading. Welcome. First card that we have out is the Star and Six of Cups. Okay. Star, Six of Cups, Four of Cups, Eight of Cups, Seven of Cups, so many cups. All right, having all of these cups here, there's going to be a focus on your moon energy. There's going to be a focus on the internal narrative. So many different things can be happening externally. This is sort of the lens that you're seeing through as you're processing, as you're feeling things out. So we're going to be talking more about like from that perspective. So if we're using metaphors and whatnot, it may not be things like physically necessarily playing out in a certain way, but this feels like more the internal like narrative or interpretation of things, okay? Starting off with the Star here, the Star talks about hopes, dreams, your purpose, healing, where you feel you're meant to be, what you're sort of wanting to experience. It is also talking about your mode of function is what this is feeling like. Six of Cups is going to bring something up from the past. Four of Cups is usually this feeling of, I don't know if I necessarily want to deal with that. I don't really feel like I'm in the place where I want to be doing that. And Eight of Cups can be this feeling within you that wants to wander and that wants to explore and see what else there is. However, Seven of Cups can be like, what am I actually looking for though? If I'm looking at this and knowing that I've sort of outgrown this past energy, what does that mean for me as far as where I'm supposed to go now? I may know that I don't want this, or know that this, I'm not really connecting with this anymore, but then what am I going to connect with? And you could feel like this is sort of a push internally from the soul space where you're looking at a situation and being like, it doesn't fit the way it used to anymore, or again, like I've outgrown this now, and there's something within me that's calling me to connect with something else, to connect with something other than that, but I haven't totally figured out what that's going to be for me. So I'm actually seeing you in a position of power here, where you have the choice to empower yourself through this experience. It feels like not falling back on something just because you're familiar with it is going to be key, but it can also be a bit of a, I feel like confusing isn't the right word. It can be a time where certain things are unclear, like you may not know exactly what you're looking for, you may not know exactly where you're going, but there's going to be lots of different stuff popping up. So it's like there are going to be lots of possibilities and there are going to be lots of choices. It feels like you're sure that you don't want whatever this is anymore. So whatever this is from the past, from your past, you can look at this and be like, well, I know that I don't want that, but as far as what I do want, don't know, gonna figure it out. So that's the place that I'm seeing you be in. That's right. Okay, having the Death card makes so much sense. This means that whatever that old process was, whatever that old cycle is, it's coming to a final close, where you're like, I'm not going to go back into that anymore. I'm going to keep moving forward. But this can also feel in a way like certain things are shifting for you. Like maybe what you want before doesn't fit you anymore. Maybe what you were hoping for before is going to change into something else, is going to evolve. You might surrender certain things. So there can be some stuff where you were like, I really thought that I always wanted this certain thing, or like I wanted this when I was in that situation, but now that I don't really want to go back into doing that anymore, these things may be changing for me. Maybe I want different things now. Maybe I want other things now. But from a place of growing, from a place of outgrowing certain things, or certain things not like fitting with the picture anymore. So the Death card is kind of like, hand over to me anything that is unnecessary now, anything that you don't need, anything that you know isn't resonating with you anymore, give it to me. I'll take that from you. and then you're going to be sort of acquiring new things, obtaining new things. But you can be in the part of the process where you're like, this means that I'm really going to be letting go. Then if I do this can also be some old emotional stuff that you've been carrying with you too. There can be a part of you that, like when the death card comes through, having 5 of Swords can be a part of you that you're going to have to surrender that too, whatever this has to do with the situation. 5 of Swords is something where you could still be holding on to resentment, you could still be holding on to anger, could still be doing something where your heart is still closed off based off of something that's already happened. This isn't anything that's happening now. This is something that happened in the past that you could have shut down because of this, but then it puts you in a place where you could feel out of touch with your purpose or out of touch with your path, out of touch with yourself ultimately. So whatever this old stuff is, death is coming through and being like, here, you can give it to me. It's kind of like a Kali moment here with this. There can be a part of you that you're like trying to battle the death card over here. So 5 of Swords is that part of you that's like, I don't know if I want to surrender to this. I don't know if I want to open my heart to a change, because that's going to mean that I'm going to have to let something go. It's going to mean that I'm going to have to adjust. Change can be scary, you know, all of those things. So you could be at a point right now where you're like, I'm holding on to this for a reason too. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to open your heart. Like maybe you still want to stay shut down. 5 of Swords comes out of a place of being like, this is how I've learned to survive. And so having something come through and be like, in order to evolve, you're going to have to surrender that. There can be a part of you that's like, but I had to learn how to do this to survive what I went through. But now you've gotten to a place where you actually don't need it anymore. So the death card is like handed over. But there can be a part of you that was like, but I really fine-tuned this armor and it's kept me safe all of this time. But you could feel as well like, if you keep it on, it's not going to allow you to continue to grow. Internally, this is going to be like an emotional sort of thing that this is connected with. You could feel like I might stay stunted emotionally in this moment, or like frozen in this moment if I don't allow myself. It's like the armor definitely helped you move through what you needed to move through, so it kept you safe. So it gives this feeling of safety to stay a bit disconnected, even if it can feel uncomfortable. However, it's like this part of you that's been growing and evolving emotionally is now like, it doesn't have any more room within that armor, and so it needs to come out of it. But there can be a part of you that's like, but I'm keeping it on to feel safe. So there can be a part of you that's like trying to fight the changes that are happening and like stop yourself from moving and stop yourself from growing, because then what's going to happen if you don't have the armor? And in the past, this was the thing that helped you move through. So it can be something that's feeling against your instinct, against an aspect of your instinct, because it's not all your instinct. It's like your ego's instinct, because this is how it was protecting you before. But the death card is like, you have to hand it over if you want to keep moving, if you want to keep growing. Otherwise, you're going to stay in this spot, and you may feel very safe staying in this spot, but you're also going to feel more and more disconnected with yourself because of it, because like other parts of you are moving and continuing to grow, and then there's this emotional component that's still stuck within the armor that you're not allowing to expand out of that. But there can be a part of you that's still kind of on the fence about this. Once this gets worked out, it seems like it's going to allow there to be a reconciliation, but more so between you and yourself. Maybe there's something that you feel like isn't the most healthy thing, but you kind of want to hold on to it still. Some of you, this is a social thing. maybe a friend or a group or something like that, like some type of social behavior. I'm seeing the devil here. Okay. Having the devil and the empress can be these energies that are not... Okay. When the empress is by itself, it's when you're doing things that are aligned with your values, and so you're like, I feel good. Like, my self-esteem is high because I'm doing things that are in alignment. But when you have the devil, it can be doing things that you think are going to boost your confidence or your self-esteem, but it's something where you're actually empowering something outside of yourself. And so then you don't really get the benefit of that because you're like, that's the thing that gives me the power. Like, I don't give me the power. And then there can be a dependency that's created on that thing because it is like feeding you in a way that you want, but it's not really a sustainable way. So you can look at something and be like, but I want to keep doing this because it is giving me something. You know, it is benefiting you. Like, the devil isn't like an all bad thing. It's something where there's a trade-off, but it's kind of an unfair trade-off where you do get something out of it, but it also disempowers you because you're empowering something else outside of yourself. Now, what is this? It looks like some type of social thing that's going on. This can be like a social climate, it can be a group of people, it can be a friendship, a relationship of any sort, but it's something that you could feel like encourages you to be in this mode of operation where you could feel like desensitized even to things because of not being fully engaged in the heart space because of that armor. So it's sort of that catch-22 that you may be feeling of, like, yes, I can go through anything and I can be safe because I'm shut down here because there's no movement, so at least it's keeping me safe. But then there's that other part of you that's like, but again, I feel kind of disconnected because of that. So I am seeing a really big change potentially. It's like knocking on your door. You get to choose whether or not you want to open it to this, open yourself to this. However, if you do, you're going to feel like this is part of where you're supposed to be going. And so something will feel very right internally, even if your ego may be kicking and screaming about this because it's uncomfortable and doesn't feel safe and is feeling not the most secure, which is something that with time, this will be something that's being healed, which is basically what this whole situation is bringing up for you. This feels like something that happened in the past that you're still holding on to. This can be a grudge that you're still holding on to as well. But I'm getting that it's more about the armor than it is about anything else, is what this is feeling like. Like, I'm doing this to protect myself, you know? Like, I'm not going to cut you a break because I'm protecting myself. Like, that type of thing. This can have to do with feeling rejected by somebody. Some of you, there were a couple people involved in this situation, involved in this circumstance. Yeah, I get the vibe of like getting your feelings hurt. You could have also felt too like there was something that you were really hoping to come out of a situation and that's not what ended up materializing, and so you could have like turned to something else to make you feel better about this. The coping strategy of the armor being one of those things, but then being in a space where you're like how do I empower myself? Because I'm seeing Seven of Cups and the Empress be connected with one another. So that's kind of being in this state of trying to figure out like what actually feels empowering to you when you've been in a situation where you were siphoning energy from something else outside of yourself. So how do you like develop that relationship with yourself and within yourself as well? Because something could have been like externally making you like think that you were feeling good, but having the Devil and the Empress here is kind of like feeding yourself something that like it may give you the sensation of feeling full, but then it's not really like nurturing you physically, metaphor. It's not nurturing you physically. And so you could feel like something is going on where like relationally, like interpersonally or emotionally, something could be feeding you, but then you feel like you're actually like not getting what you need out of it. Like it's not nourishing to you on an internal level. So you could be in this spot now where you're like, but I do want to empower myself, so how exactly do I do that? But it's going to take a really big change here, which just means you being willing to surrender to this process. It's all going to start with a tuning in, and you'll be able to tune in by connecting, but having to remove that armor is what's going to be necessary in order for you to make that connection, in order for you to like tune in and hear that. And again, like all of the reason why you have the armor on in the first place, in order to hear yourself and in order to hear your intuition, your heart space needs to be open. Your heart space is not open because of something that happened and you feel like you needed to shut down in order to protect yourself. So this means that psychologically, based off of what happened in the past, this thing that you're still holding on to, it's about addressing this, and it needs to be integrated. But it can be something that you still feel a type of way about and you still feel stuck on. And so you're still, again, keeping the armor on. So that's what I'm seeing is going on here. This feels like a social situation that you may keep being drawn to out of habit or something like that, but that it's not nourishing to you. You can feel like it's one of those things where you're like, why did I even like spend my time going there? Why did I even like spend my whole day with them or do that thing when I know like the last 5 times I've seen them, like it hasn't been feeling good, but I just go because I'm used to doing that. It's like that type of thing, but it may be something that's actually like keeping you in this space where you're feeling shut down because of it. And I think this is also about looking at to where you're trying to get like the nourishing thing for yourself. Like, are you outsourcing that, or is it coming from within? Like, are you doing that within your relationship with yourself, or are you feeling like it's dependent on something outside of yourself? That even though you could feel like it's dependent on something outside of yourself, when you are trying to utilize that thing, you're not fully getting what you need. So that's what I'm seeing is going on for you, Cancer. We are going to leave the reading here. I'm seeing Capricorn, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I'm also seeing Venus here. All right. Thank you, everybody, for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.